is going on, everybody, and welcome to the 1% podcast. I have a very special woman on today. I don't know how to intro. Do I say mum or Carlin? It's like, I'll go with mum. So I just brought my mum onto the podcast today, and honestly, everyone's very aware. I think anyone that is in our lives is very aware how close I am to you and everything that you've, I think maybe only in the last year, not even that, I've really appreciated you as a parent, I should say. Because I think when you're growing up, you don't think about it, do you? You just kind of take advantage of parents, really, or you don't, maybe not take advantage is the wrong word.
You just take them for granted, really, because they're there. They are always there. They're the people that are there in your life. Yeah.
So I think it's just been one of those moments where I'm like you're pretty fucking good as a parent. So well done. But no, that's anyone that's, I've made it very clear that I'm very close to you and things like that. And it's like, it's obvious as well, right? Like people say like we lived together in a lockdown, we didn't have a problem. So
we've always got on. I think we've always got on, but I think, lots of people don't believe in the star signs, but actually we are perfect match star signs.
Are we?
Leo and Aquarius. Yeah.
Thing is, I was talking about this with someone the other day, and like this, okay, so I believe in it to that extent, but then they're talking about, I didn't know you had a rising sign and a setting sign and all this sort of stuff. Like they were like, oh, do you know what time you were born? And I was like, yeah, was I born at 1 a.m.? Was that early or something like that?
No, I'm trying to think. You were born on Granddad's birthday, but you only just got into his birthday, but you were late. I think it was just before 12 o'clock on his birthday.
In the evening?
Yeah.
Oh, so I was born just in time. Otherwise, I'd be born on the 22nd.
Yes. Yeah. Mm.
Okay. All right. Cool. But no, I think dabbling into this just kind of give like everybody an insight into you, because obviously, like I speak about you a lot, and everyone's like, oh, she's clearly pretty cool. But what's your story?
Yeah, I suppose my story's been, I don't know how probably a lot of people, if you look back on your life's been a kind of a muddled journey. I never planned a journey in my life. Like people now, I know people plan, their work, their life, which is sensible. Don't get me wrong, you need to do it. I never did. I fell into a job. I always loved horse riding and sport, but then it wasn't really sport. Definitely then, you couldn't earn lots of money out of sport. Sport was a hobby. Even if you would in the English team, you didn't earn lots of money from it. So I took an apprenticeship on in photography. I love photography. I had a ball. It was great. I used to meet celebrities and I had a really good time and go to some good places. But again, it was just a journey I went on. And then when everything went a bit computerized, even though it was as big as this room, printing out photos, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. The fun's gone. I then left. Then I had 2 children, very young, Tony and Lou. Then I went back to sort of having the home, running a small holding, doing animals, going back to horses, something I loved doing. It was great. I loved being a mum. Not a wonderful relationship. So by the time, they were sort of 9 and 5, I was a single parent. And I then sort of went back to sport, which then I guess it was quite new. There wasn't health clubs or anything at all. There was working gyms. So I started going to the gym, but it was just big bodybuilders. And I started then teaching women's keep fit. So it was a very old sort of school. There wasn't places. People played a sport. They didn't go to a gym or a health club or anything. Yeah. So I kind of incorporated things that I enjoyed, really.
Yeah.
And I was lucky, I suppose. Every job, I had lots and lots of different jobs, but they've always been things that I've loved doing, either with animals, with sport. I've taught schools, I've taught colleges. Then obviously health clubs arrived. So I suppose everything I did was I actually did enjoy. I have worked at pubs, I've done waitressing, but again, they were great social times and they were part-time. The only probably job I had I really didn't like was cleaning. I did cleaning. That was
when did you do cleaning?
Many years ago I did cleaning. Yeah. And again, I suppose because I was a single mum, and then I had a pub, something your dad wanted, but that was a bit of a disaster. So ended up being on my own again with you. So hey, you know, I've never ever regretted anything, and I think as long as you learn by everything you do, but I think as long as you enjoy, I never felt I had a career. I felt I had a job, because I needed to pay bills and look after children. But actually, if I look back, I was slowly building a career and still doing those things now that I love doing, you know, working with animals and working with people in the fitness industry. So yeah, I suppose I was lucky, even though I never saw it as a career path, it was a job to pay bills. I always enjoyed what I did.
Yeah. And then like, where are you now in a sense? Because obviously that was the build up now. Where are you?
Yeah, I
Maybe
suppose.
I guess bring it in from when you had me to kind of now, maybe.
Yeah, I think when I had you, I went back when you were 2 to work. There was a big new gym being opened, and I went back to running a gym, and being a manager in a gym, and then started PTing again, which I hadn't done for quite a few years. I think when I was pregnant with you, I stopped teaching when I was about 6 months pregnant, sort of aerobic classes and fitness classes. And then when you were small, I did a massage course. I did 2 years massage sports therapy. So I fitted that in part-time. And I suppose I've just built from there. And I guess then I always did, many years ago, I'm going back to when I was like 17 or 18, I used to go to a lady in Maidenhead that did yoga. It wasn't trendy, it wasn't heard of. It was like, you know, hippie shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to love the yoga. So I always used to bring yoga into part of my stretching and cooling down for people all the way through, because it just showed me some great stretches. Then it was probably about 12 years ago, I was teaching at college, sports science at college, that I thought I could actually open a little studio for my massage. Then thought, there's enough room here, I could teach yoga too. And kind of that's how I've then grown over the last probably 12, 15 years to build up the yoga studio. And
how long it's been since you had the room above the your first room? Is that how long it's been? 12, 15 years?
Yeah, I've been here nearly 9 years. Yeah.
Fuck, have you?
I know.
Holy shit.
I
Okay.
know, let's that time go.
Yeah, Jesus, that's nuts. So I was 10 when you got that first space.
You
Around 10 to 12.
You were 12. I think you were 12 when I got that space. Yeah.
That's nuts.
I know.
Damn. And I think kind of just bringing it back almost like when you first said to have a plan. I think too many people focus on a plan sometimes. It's like if I said to you, where do you want to be in 5 years? This is a common question that gets asked all the time. Like, where do you want to be in 5 years? I'm like, well, it's the same as you. It's like you have like, you know that you'll be doing horses, sport, whatever, working with people, but you don't know where that'll be. It's the same. If someone said to me, where will I be in 5 years? I'll be like, well, still fitness orientated of some form, but will I be coaching? Will I be managing? Who knows, right? Who knows where you'll go? So I think, go on.
I think you have to, I think when I say make a plan, I think it's about, you know, have a goal. Don't just drift in life. Have goals to work towards. Along that path, they may take you in a completely different direction, but then you choose. You're consciously aware that this is taking me to somewhere different, or maybe more enjoyable, or achieving more. But I think it is having goals to work towards is important.
Have you always, because this is going to sound very different, because obviously you've had children since the age of 19. So have you always had goals, or did you lose sight of those goals because of being a parent?
I think I lost sight sometimes. I think I lost sight, or you lose you a little bit when looking after children and helping them with their goals to move forward becomes more important than your goals. A bit like when you were kayaking. Yeah. You know, then I was running the stable yard and doing my one-to-ones and going out. Then I did enjoy my work, but actually I then probably for that period of time, I didn't have any goals because I was helping you work towards your goals. So I think you lose sight of yourself a little bit, and you lose yourself a little bit in being a parent. But I think that's natural.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think most people do, because you do what you have to do. But I don't think you lose sight of your goals. They just put on hold maybe a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And I think I've always had goals of moving forward into areas that I'd like to work on, but I probably never had them set enough. I was like, oh, I'd like to be doing that, but I never thought, okay, in 2 years I'm going to work towards that. They kind of just happened and rolled one into the other, which I was probably maybe quite lucky with that. And I think it's important to take opportunities. I think I've always been one to take an opportunity if it's there.
Yeah.
You know, if you put your sort of self out to meet people, opportunities will arise.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of your greatest strengths. I think maybe like if I had to say who am I more like, I'm like, obviously I look potentially the spitting image of dad, but then I think personality, I'm all you. Because like I think when it comes down to you and me, like we know a lot of people, right? Like it's the same as Tone. Like name someone that Tone doesn't know, sort of thing. And it's like we're just very good at networking, and that generally does, I think, for anybody out there, that really does open up so many doors, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have the studio. Like your network is everything. The same as like your environment. Like we spoke about this yesterday on a podcast as well with the guys, like how many people are in a toxic environment without even realizing. Like you can relate this from two serious relationships, right? Like,
and I think I've worked in places where I've actually felt I've enjoyed my work and the individual people that come in that I'm working with, but actually probably at a higher level, there's some really toxic stuff going on that you're kind of aware of, maybe because I was that bit older, but I think young people maybe aren't aware of it and they just feel they have to go along with that. So yeah, I think it is being aware of what is happening around you, very much so. And sometimes we don't realize, we kind of get sucked in, and we get sucked into a little bit of security that we don't want to change. And I know I've done that, especially with children. I've thought, even working hours, I thought, oh, I can't change my working hours because I won't be able to work enough. And then all of a sudden something happens with that company or that business that you've got to change. And then you think, why didn't I do this before?
Yeah, but that was almost the same. It was, I think, well, COVID or lockdown was a prime example of that, right? Like you never want, like you were adamant, like I will never do Zoom online and things like that. And like I think we all were like, we're never going to do this. Like I'm a fitness person. I work face to face and all this. Like that's where I'm good. But then you're like, well, actually, like, aren't you glad you did? Because it's over a year now, and we still like for you can't open till when?
The 17th of May. I can only still have then 6 people in.
Yeah.
And go back. So it'll be on Zoom, but I can't put hands on people.
Yeah.
Only have 6 in rather than 15 or 18 in, and the rest will be online. It has gone very quiet now, but I think that's only because people can go out and the weather's not, it's not great weather here at the moment, but people can go out wrapped up and they can socialize. The shops are open, and it's been a long time. We're now into the 5th month, and it's been a long time of lockdown. So I think I expected it to go quiet. Guarantee when we can have everyone back in, that'll be my quiet time, because it'll be summer and everyone will go away.
Yeah, that's it. But I think it is just really important to like that. Look, none of us planned this, right? So like, and I remember like, but you like even when we were together in that first lockdown, I think you had like 35 people on Zoom and stuff like that, right? Like some and you're like, well, but that's the thing as well. So sometimes if you're not open to those opportunities, number one, you were a rock for so many people without that realizing. Like, what would people have done if they couldn't just have that kind of your voice, like, and things like that? And you probably got loads of.
I don't think you realize how much people, they might just come on for that 1 hour and a quarter and just familiar, and they move their body, and straight away, just by moving the body, they're going to feel better. Yeah. So yeah, without realizing, you probably do a lot for people just by, for me, it's like a Zoom class, and it's really hard because you're just giving so much detail and trying to give in as much as you can. You're kind of cramming the whole time full of you talking. Yeah. But you hope that people actually go away feeling, better for it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And what's kind of like, I was going to bring it right back. So obviously now that I'm grown up, that like Lou's got 2 kids, Tone's very settled and things like that. Like what's it like not being I guess a full-time parent now? Because you've been since 19, you've been a parent, like.
I have, but I kind of think that I've gone back to, I'm collecting animals. Why? Why? I've got a crazy puppy and I just look at her every day and think, why did I do this? But yeah, again, I guess it's just part of nurturing. I've always had something to look after.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'd do if I didn't.
Yeah. What do you like? Because obviously I know exactly what you do to fill your time, but obviously people don't. And I think it is really important for people to understand that actually, like, you've spent the last how many years being like a full-time parent now. Now you've back off, right? Sort of thing. So it's like, what do you do with your spare time now? Because actually work-wise, like, you're very much like me. Like, how much do we actually work on a day-to-day basis?
I'm not doing loads of work. I'm not, and I love it. And I'm not gonna, as much as it'd be nice to earn more, I'm not gonna take loads more on, because actually I like my free time. And I think one thing I found, like you realised when you were with me, is art. Last February, not the February just gone, the February before, I went on a one-day course for art, which I used to do art years ago, but I haven't done anything since my early 20s, nothing at all. And I was driving one day, not last year, the year before, and looked across a field and thought, oh, I'd like to paint that. And I was like, oh, where did that voice come from? Like, was that me? And then that just triggered off. I was like, I'm going to start painting. So yeah, so I could just stand and paint all day long. So my goals now are to, who knows?
No, it's good because I don't even know this, so it's good.
Sell my art, and today I've got delivery of my cards coming. I'm doing gift cards.
Okay, yeah.
My artwork on. I'm going to do a little art exhibition. So yeah, so it may be just that it's another little string to my bow, but I'm going to, you know, see where it goes anyway. Yeah.
Because I remember when I was at my old place in London, the amount of people, because obviously I do like check-ins like this, and I'd have the one that you did for me with it was the sea and then the city, right? With the light. And the amount of,
I did.
yeah. And the amount of people that commented like, oh, like, who did that? Or what is that? And well, it's a nice piece. I was like, every time I was like, oh yeah, that's it. But no, like,
now I go, oh my God, they're so bad.
You actually now.
Yeah. So no, I think now my whole of my spare time I could paint. So I have to actually stop myself. And yeah, I guess I'm working. I love walking the dogs. I go up to this horse every day, which I enjoy, even though I don't ride loads. Yeah, my days get filled. I read. It's nice now to meet up with girlfriends, go and have a coffee. Maybe soon, once the weather's nice, so we can go and sit out and eat. It's too cold. People go and sit out and wrap up and eat outside. You're like, really?
People are committed.
I'm going to go home to my central heating.
Yeah. But this is kind of, we can kind of bring this on because me and you are very much alike when it comes to this. So obviously you split with Dad when I was 9, maybe younger.
9.
Yeah.
Well, you were 3 the first time and then 9.
Yeah. So obviously since then, you've never really, like, you've dated and things like that, but, and like, you've had the couple of like ish serious things, not really, like, but you've never really settled down, have you, since then? Like, you've never met someone?
No, I've lived on my own.
And
I like my own company, though. I do, yeah. It's nice when, like, if I see the grandchildren, that's really nice, because they're fun. But no, I actually really like my own company. Sometimes I think everybody gets lonely, but that's just, I think it's that wanting something that's not for your age, but for me, something that's kind of not real, I guess. And it would be nice to meet someone that I could, you know, maybe go on holidays, do stuff, go walking with, even hobbies. But
do you find it hard?
It's not,
not
like top of my list.
No, that's it. But do you find it hard as well? Because your whole life, you've been very driven, like very inspiring and very driven, and you've worked nonstop. Like you've done the groundwork, put it that way, sort of thing. Do you find it's hard to meet people that just don't like you? They just don't have the same oomph as you, like the same like passion or outlook and drive, and like do you know what I mean?
I find it hard to. It's easy to make friends and associates, and you know, go out and sit and chat and talk to people, but there's very few people that I meet that I actually, it sounds really, really harsh, and I don't mean it to be harsh, but that really inspire me, that I love talking to, and that I can really be myself and talk about things I love.
Yeah.
Because most women my age, no, they don't. They don't. They're quite happily either retired, or some of them are working hard. Don't get me wrong; they're in big jobs, and or then they get home and they've got their husbands and their life at home, or they're retired and they're looking after grandchildren. I kind of think, I've done children all my life. I don't want to look after grandchildren. I love seeing them, but I don't want to look after them.
Them back, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do find it hard to meet people that inspire me.
What does inspire you?
I suppose people that they have a brilliant gift. One person who inspires me is Monty Roberts, and the first book I read of his was just like, wow, this man is out there. He's now 84, 85.
I think anyone that doesn't know who Monty Roberts is, his whole life he's dedicated to working with horses, right? Yeah, cool. Just so who everyone's like, who are we talking about? He's a horse whisperer, pretty much.
He is pretty much, but also he gives so much. He does lots of talks to big companies like Schweppes, big companies, how to relate to people. He's fostered hundreds and hundreds of children. His wife's a wonderful artist. They give back so much to their community. And I just think it's nice to meet people that, doesn't matter if their gifts big or small, their passions big or small, but they actually give back and they affect lots of people's lives in a good way. Yeah. And I think that inspires me. So I kind of think when I'm just even a simple thing of teaching my yoga is trying to give something to someone that they can take away and use in their life.
I think that's the kind of like, that's very much how maybe like what you've definitely raised me like that. It's like, when you die, what are you going to be known for, sort of thing. And I think it is always going to be a positive word, right? How much they've helped you, how much they've inspired you, how much they helped you through a tough time. Doesn't matter, like you say, how much someone's impacted you or not. But if you've been that 2 months of someone's life, but you've potentially given them tools that they can live with the rest of their life, I think that's a massive impact.
I think it is, and like you say, it is a matter of the size of, or how big or small, or what the worth of it. The worth of it is what it gives to other people. And I think when you're younger, lots of young people, it's about what you can get. But I think as you get older, it's about what you can give. And I think that's what's important. And by giving and sharing with other people, the smallest of things, it's a simple thing, a smile to someone. You don't know what's going on in their life and how that will just make them feel better. Simple things.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the stuff that, so like, that I've started working with like a mindset coach here, in a sense, like it's a polite way of saying counseling. It's a more involved way than counseling, because counseling is very much, what's your problem? Let's try and fix it. This isn't about fixing a problem. And this is the stuff that...
Well, I think what you're doing is actually helping you grow and build yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And this is the stuff that it's like, it's very easy, like a simple things that we do in the morning, like writing down like things that you've won. But like you said, like it could be as small as things like, or grateful for, like writing down, like I made someone smile. I wrote down yesterday that I spoke to you and Lou. Like, I didn't know that Lou was going to be there, but I phoned you and she was there. I was like, that was really nice timing. And I was grateful for that.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that, but it is the small things on a day-to-day life that we potentially, people my age or the younger generation now, we overlook because we wanted things yesterday.
Yeah. You want big things. You want things to make such a change that you miss. And I always do that when I talk through a meditation with people. Actually, it's looking for just the small things. And I do silly things. It's like if I go into a supermarket and there's like kids in there or a little baby in a trolley, smile at them or pull faces at them. Even dogs, smile at a dog and see how it just looks at you differently. It's quite amazing just what a facial expression can do.
But body language is huge. It's like, if we were sat here kind of crumpled up and things like that, I think maybe this is something that I'm very, very happy, like very privileged, I guess, because you've embedded that in us, in children potentially. Because like me, like maybe Lou's pretty smart, but like she can do one.
I don't think I probably did with Lou and Tony. I was young. I didn't know. And I didn't with them. But with you, I did, because I was older and I knew more about life. I knew more about
I think
me.
Tone and Lou are pretty good at reading body language now.
Well, they're very good. They are
Yeah.
very good. Yeah.
But you know what I'm
Maybe
saying?
it's an
That's the thing, because that's also, as a parent, you've learnt those skills over time still, and you still teach them. That's
yeah.
like 100%. Like even Tone now, I'm like, you still teach him things. You're still his mum. Like even though he's the oldest, but you still teach him like all the time.
Well, I think he's doing reverse roles on me now. He phones me to see if I'm all right, if I need anything doing. He's becoming the parent to me now.
Yeah. But also, isn't that the child's dream really? Because like I think that now, I'm like, I remember, I think it was, when was it? It was like, oh, it was the little things, because obviously like we could talk about life for hours, right? But we're not but we're not going to kill people's time. But you've been in some serious tough situations in life, from financial, from vice versa, everything, from relationships. And I think it was the big thing that I found is that when you moved into the place now, that you needed credit to get the carpets down. And I was so happy that I was in that position to be like, I could do that.
Help me, yeah.
Sort of thing, yeah. And it is the little things, isn't it?
But it means an awful lot. And again, it's like giving back. Yeah. They're the things that count. They are.
Yeah.
You know, just like Tone come in and.
But Tone does so much for you now, because I think the big thing is because
he's older, so it's
also, I think because he had a tougher upbringing for sure. He had it hard.
Yeah.
He had it much harder than me and Lou, like sort of thing. Yeah, so like, well, definitely, I had it the easiest, and then it got easier as you got older, sort of thing. Yeah. But like Tone had it rough, so I think now that he knows exactly what you went through, and
I think with Tony, he's great at reading people and what they need, and he's a great giver.
Oh,
you know, ridiculous. He will give his time up, and I don't know. It's simple things like I don't know anyone in my family or like in Jane's family or people he knows. When someone dies, he's there. This sounds bizarre, but he is there, and yeah, it's quite. You know, it's respect. It's great respect, I think.
It's funny because because obviously we don't talk loads. Like obviously, like I generally know if shit hit the fan right now, the other side of the world, he would be here tomorrow.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So like, regardless of the situation, he would be rocking up. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think also as well, like that's quite the nice thing, isn't it? As well, because we were like, even I think that's the nice thing, because obviously, if anyone doesn't like know, like I've told like some like obviously people that I'm close to, but Tone obviously married into Jane's family, but you know, because of being a gypsy family, you know that they would literally be there, boom.
They got your back.
Yeah, 100%. And
they would absolutely, yeah. And they would all the time, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with family, isn't it?
Like I think like with you and Tone, you don't see each other much, but you always ask about each other. And I think it's a bit like, there's a little saying that good friends and people that mean something to you are like stars. You can't always see them, but they're always there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a really nice thing to know. The people that are really, really good friends and the people you know that are really there for you, it doesn't matter if you speak to them every day or you don't speak to them in 4 or 5 years. They're the ones that count, and they're the ones.
I think that's the nice thing actually about our family.
But I do think it's the little things.
Yeah, and I think that's the nice thing about our family, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, because actually, how often do we see? Like, how often do you see Auntie Zoe? How often do you see Auntie Lisa on the grand scheme of things? But I think as well over the years, there was always like we definitely got closer some way. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know how. But I think it potentially was Nan's passing as well. I think since Nan passed away, I don't think any of us realized how close we were all to Nan. And then as soon as that happened, we were like, I think everyone drew to each other. And ever since then, we've always been like, yeah.
Well, I think again, it's the layers of the family go down. It's like Zoe and I now. Zoe is the oldest. Zoe is the oldest member of our family.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary. And I'm the next. You're like, whoa, that's how did I get there?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, you then connect with everyone underneath you. But but then obviously we all spread. So now Zoe will be the point that keeps all her family together.
Yeah.
And the same as me, you know, I'm the one that connects with all of you. And then when I'm not here, you'll all three connect together, and that's how it works. Yeah. It's interesting how quick it goes. That's why you've got to make the most of it.
Yeah, that's it. But
like
we were saying this yesterday, right? Like we're in May. Like where did that happen?
And I think it's one of those sayings that you kind of think, oh yeah, everyone says it, but live today like it's your last.
Yeah.
None of us do. None of us do. But hey, none of us know what tomorrow brings either. So it's being grateful of just what we have around us every day.
This is something that me and Simon, I did a podcast with Simon and Kevin yesterday, and we spoke about this, and it was, from us, we're very driven, and we're always focusing, okay, we've done this, what's next? But actually sometimes I'm getting better at this, and you've taught me how to do this better, or you've kind of been like, you should probably fucking do this. And it is so you right now, talking to you, being right in this present.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us forget that, because outside those doors, it's 100 miles an hour.
I do at the beginning of my yoga class, and every yoga class, I always do hands namaste. And I always say, your right hand is the future, your left is the past. Then you are in that space between. And that's so true. It's just getting into that moment.
Yeah,
and finding those things that allow you to do it. It could be that you go running. It could be that you're in the gym, doing really heavy weights, whatever you're doing, but it is just being in that moment and giving your whole self to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Where we're so quick to be, what we got to do next? Or hang on, I can't go, I've got to go now. And actually just giving time.
Yeah, and it is the biggest thing. It is the biggest thing. What do you think is kind of like, because we could definitely just ramble, so I'll try and control it as much as possible. But what do you think is like? Yeah, it's fine. What do you think is kind of the three? Maybe what's the like? I think especially over the last year, because it's been a very weird year since April to May, right? So what do you think is the three biggest things that you've learned, maybe about you or others, in this kind of time period?
I think more than anything, I've realized this last lockdown on my own, because I've done it without you there. I think it's made me realize actually how I do enjoy my own company, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I've had moments where I think I need to get out and just say hi to someone walking their dog, but I think it's made me realize actually I'm really happy with me, who I am.
How many people can say that?
Yeah, but I think maybe that comes with age too. I don't know.
I generally think if I turn around, it's like, I only know this from working.
I look like Cindy Crawford. I always have, but hey, I've given up on that now.
There's me going, I have to picture Cindy.
Who's she?
Yeah. That's fine. But honestly, like I remember saying this to you, and saying this when I started that mindset stuff. I was like, I rated myself a 6 out of 10, that I liked myself. And that generally made me think, like, that's really worrying. But now I can step back now and be like, oh, I actually do like who I am. So I think actually how many people can say they're generally happy with who they are right now?
And I think you have to work on those things too. Because I know when I did the work with Anthony Robbins, and I did that course, and then I did the life coaching course after that. I'm forever learner. I
was going to say, can we just pause and be like, can we just take a step back and be like, you've done fucking everything. It's like when they say, what does your mum do? I'm like, I literally give them 4 things that you do as a job. And they're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, it's the easiest way to sum it up.
Yeah, I think when I did that, and part of that was coaching, learning to be a coach, and then actually, but I need to be the person to be a coach. So how do I feel about me? So part of that process was actually learning to like yourself. You don't have to like, no one likes 100% themselves. You're all going to always say, I could do with a little small nose, or,
yeah,
different shaped shoulders, or, hey, but I think it's actually learning to like what's inside you, personality that you are, and being the personality that's a good personality, because that's a choice. Yeah. So I think sometimes it's not just we tend to look at the outside shape of us and think that's us. Other people don't see that. No. They see what comes from within. And I think that's what's important to get to like.
I think as well, how many times have I turned around to you, like anyone that's like fitness or things like that, like when I've been in competition shape or photo shoot shape, I'm fat, things like that. And then you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like, and things like that. But it's so easy to kind of get wrapped up in your own heads and thoughts. And
Oh, it is.
that's it.
So yeah, going back to that question, I think
Number two.
Number two was, I think I've found my art. You know, that was just like, wow, I'm loving every minute. Whether anyone likes it, buys it, it's nice, but actually it's not important. I just love doing it. So I might, you know, when I die, you'll come into this little house that's just full of art stacked up everywhere.
The thing is though, what's the bet? That's going to be like the next Mona Lisa. And I'm like, set.
Yeah.
My dream was always to buy a nice farm so you can house all of us. Don't worry, the art will do that. It's fine.
That would be a dream.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
No, you don't know.
That shitty picture that you did for me that you think shit, wait for it.
Yeah, you'll be looking out and saying, hey.
Yeah, just counting the balls.
Yeah, and I think too, the third thing really is probably actually, I suppose actually is just doing the things that I enjoy and saying no more. I'm pretty good at saying no.
Yeah.
And being really straight people, not obviously in an unkind way, but actually saying no. You know, if people say, oh, do you want to come out for lunch and do this? Say, no, not for me.
Yeah.
Another time, but not today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just choosing who you surround yourself with is really important. And I think the other thing is, whatever you do, you know, wherever my life leads me from here, is always make sure that you give and you do things that other people can enjoy too. I think that's probably spending a lot of time on my own over the last year, or just a different year. It's made me think it's more important to actually give back, whether it be to the planet. You know, we all become more eco-friendly, whether it be to your neighbor that needs a helping hand, maybe the simplest of things, but actually to make sure I don't become this grumpy old woman that just doesn't give anything to the world. Yeah.
No, it's good. That's, I absolutely love that. That's quality. No, it's it. Like, no, it's nice. I think this is quite an excuse otherwise just to talk to you for an hour, to be honest. So it's fine.
I think I just see so many old people, well, even young people, that moan so much about what everybody else is doing. And you kind of think, why do you care? As long as they're not hurting someone or destroying something, you kind of think, why do you care what their opinion is?
People get so wrapped up into other people's lives. And do you know what the biggest thing that holds everyone back, or most people back, is that they give a fuck what someone else thinks, or they give a fuck of how they look, or they care about Jess down the street, her opinion and stuff like that. I'm like, even for me, it's like, so we were talking about this yesterday, and it was like, so Simon's dad doesn't like really understand the concept of what we do. And he doesn't really understand business. He doesn't really understand coaching online, like what we do now and things like that. And it is just sometimes it's like, who cares if people understand it or not? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what's right, sort of thing. So just do what's right for you.
Absolutely. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, no, I think again, it's another little saying that I love, and I think it's Winston Churchill. Might be quoting that wrong, but I'm sure it is. And it was, in your 20s, you're worried about what everybody thinks. In your 40s, you kind of don't really care what they think. And in your 60s, you realize they weren't even thinking about you anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And I think it's so true.
Yeah, and people do that now, though. It's like, oops, people going into the gym environments and stuff like that and worrying like, what this guy like, who cares? Like, just the biggest thing.
They're too busy really just thinking about what they're doing.
Yeah, so like everyone has their own shit that goes on in their life and things like that. This is the biggest thing. So like, when I came out here, the amount of people that sent me horrible messages and things like that, I'm like, why do you care? Like, well, what's
why do that? But I just think that's another thing I think is actually, and I really consciously always be kind, because if you can't say anything good, don't say anything bad.
That's it. Yeah.
It's fine to say nothing at all. but actually to say something bad to someone, it's like knocking someone down to build yourself up. That's kind of just a false insecurity of who you are.
But I see this all the time working with clients, though. That's the thing, because I see their environment around them without even knowing their environment. They're like, it could be like, so for you, like you'd be super supportive. You wouldn't care, like you wouldn't offer me things. You go and have dinner, go and have this, have a drink and things like if you were dieting, for example. But like how many people go on have one, it won't kill you, go on. But the only reason people do that is because they know they should be looking after their health. They know they should be prioritizing that. But because you are, they feel a bit, let's try and bring them down to our level so we bring ourselves back up. Yeah. But this applies to all different areas in life.
Well, it does, because I think we all definitely, as human beings, we home into what's similar to us. So we connect with people that have the same sort of values as us in life. But I think we home into people, even of our own religion. You can put it into religion, you can put it into cultures, all different forms of things. And I think we home into what's familiar to us because we feel secure. But actually, is that out of being fearful that we wanted to be in a comfort zone? I think it's really good to step out of the comfort zone, get into a little bit of fearfulness, or not fear of danger, but actually just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Put yourself in an area of being uncomfortable.
You
learn more about you.
Yeah, 100%. So this is something that popped up in Grant Cardone, one of his books that I read. And it was, is fear real? Because so many people have a fear, right? So I'm scared of snakes, for example. But I'm like, you've never experienced being attacked by a snake or having a snake around you. Your fear of... Yeah, that's it. But it's like saying, like, it's kind of anything. Like, I'm scared of heights. But I'm like, have you fallen from a height? And things like that. So it's like sometimes it's actually you're afraid of things that haven't happened yet. That's what fear is. It's almost like, and it's kind of being like, oh, I can't do that because I'm like, you haven't tried.
I think when you've been through something horrible, whatever degree it is, you don't become fearful. And when people say they're frightened of that, you're like, really? You should have experienced this.
Yeah,
it's actually fear is. Don't get me wrong. There is obvious fear. A fire. You're not going to walk into it. A building falling down. You're going to run.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
fearful.
So you've had more. I was going to say you've had more life experiences than I have, right? So like you've been in. I know you've been in situations that are very life traumatic and things like that, right? But do you think you were scared? Because if there was a building on fire and your child was in there, you wouldn't be scared though, would you?
Survival kicks in.
Yeah.
I guess there's an element of fear. There is an element of fear, and that's what kicks in the survival thing.
Yeah, but would you define it as fear? I wouldn't. I would just call it a survival instinct. Is it fear? No.
No, not at the time. It's not.
I don't. I think I've over the last month or so, I kind of believe that fear isn't real. I think it's just an emotion.
I think fear it is real. If there was a great big lion chasing you, you're going to be eaten. That would be scary. That would be fearful. Fearful could be a word you could use.
Yeah, you could use it in that sense. Yeah,
I think you could, but I think when people are scared, or
it's like when people throw around being like, "Oh, I'm depressed." I'm like, you don't know what it's like to be depressed. So how can you be like, you're not depressed? You don't know what it feels like to be chronically depressed. So you don't throw the word around. It's like people are, "Oh, I'm scared of that." I'm like, you don't fucking know. So don't throw the word around.
No, and I think people use words, and again, words are powerful. We say it enough, we believe it, we feel it. Fear is one that people say. I think people are if they're fearful of change, we are all creatures of habit. So if people are fearful of change, it's their fear of their security going.
Yeah.
100%. It's not actually a real fear. No,
I'm set.
No. So, but I think we should. Don't get me wrong. If you have young children and you have people to be responsible, that's a very different thing because you're responsible for their life and giving them their security they need. But I think an individual actually being fearful of change is like, no, it's just look at it as a challenge. Change the word, instead of being fearful, actually get excited about it,
Yeah, this is something that, so like I'm paying, I think maybe because I've changed a lot in the last 5 months. It's phenomenal. Like just from the way that I talk about myself, feel about myself. But it is, so like writing down affirmations every day. I do that. So it's like, right, I am, I will, I can. Like 3 things. And I start every day like that. And it is just, but it's honestly at the moment, it's the same. I write down the same thing, right? The same fucking goal. But because you drill it into you so much, you start to become it.
From
And
it.
I started, I re-listened to Awaken the Giant. And
All right, yeah, it's an old one, yeah.
do you know what I mean? Super old. And it's like, it's literally only an hour and 40 minutes as well.
I know, but it's good.
Oh, like the stuff in that, like it's like old school works, right? And it is just, you need, people do this, like people could be like, I have cancer, I am ill, and things like that, or this thing is and like you can wish being ill on yourself. Like, I know that sounds like a bit more hippie shit, but you can.
Some people become their illness, and some people won't allow their illness to become them. You know, and they might not survive any longer, but the time they have to survive that illness will be a lot more positive, and they'll get a lot more from life.
People Absolutely. Do this with, so you see this a lot with people that have struggled to drop body fat. They get to the stage where they just have to be like, I am just a fat person. They think they've tried so many ways to change, but they just think I am a fat person, and they label themselves as that. Like, it's like you could do this. You could label yourself as the single mum.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're not. Like, you've just labeled yourself as like a negative terminology. Or you could label yourself as the fucking boss mum that raised 3 incredible children. However you want to label yourself.
That one's better.
Yeah, that's it. But that's the thing, is how you speak about yourself, right?
Words are so powerful. And if you think you talk to yourself, everyone does. Everyone that's walking on this planet talks to themselves more than they talk to anybody else. That internal voice. So make it good. You know, why make it negative and destructive? Make it good. And again, it's practice. Nothing comes. I always say to people, you know, they say, but I can't do that. Well, no, if you wanted to play the violin at the Philharmonic Orchestra, no, you wouldn't be able to do it in a day. It's a lifetime's practice. And that's what changing your mind is, a lifetime's practice. The more you change it, you realize you can just change it, but you can just keep stepping up, stepping up, stepping up. So in the end, you don't consciously think about it, you just do it. And you are mindful consciously of the words you use.
Yeah.
I found myself, it was a couple of years ago, in the mornings, and it was ridiculous. I would start putting the kettle on, thinking, oh, I'm really tired. And then I was like, what is that about? I'm not really tired. I've been in bed asleep 6 hours. Like, actually, wake yourself up. Yeah, don't have the tea. Go for a walk. Like, but how we just create those little habits.
Yeah, 100%.
Just doing it, yeah.
But that's the thing as well. Like, when people, so obviously I monitor things like that with clients all the time. Like, how's your sleep? How's all this? And when they keep so say, for example, everything's good, nutrition, training, they're getting stronger, they're getting leaner, and they keep saying they wake up tired. I'm like, but like, there's nothing saying that you should be tired. You're sleeping, some of them 7 to 9 hours. I'm like, bro, you're fucking killing it. I get like, if I get 5, I'm set.
Hangover from sleep. 9 hours.
So sometimes it's like, actually, but then it's just, are you waking up, giving yourself those messages? It could be that 100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
So no, it's brilliant. But yeah.
Wendy's got a great one for that, because, you know, as you do get older, you get a lot more broken sleep. So sometimes you feel you might have slept for 7 hours, but 2 hours at a time. And she's great. And I say to her, are you sleeping better? And she goes, no, I had a week of not really good sleep. But she said, do you know something? You're a long time dead, so don't moan about not sleeping. Yeah. And I just think it's so true. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So this will be a good one. Okay. So obviously a lot of coaches will watch this, or a lot of like personal trainers and things like that. And client retention is a big one, right? So everyone wants to work with a client for a long time. How long have you worked? It is Wendy, isn't it? How long have you worked with Wendy for?
She's my longest client since she was 2. So this year it'll be 24 years. Twice a week I go to her.
Okay, now, so guys, if anybody wants to learn how to keep clients, just message my mum.
So I've been with, I can't say his name because he's sort of a person that everyone would know.
Yeah.
Not in this country, but I shouldn't even say that because probably a lot further than that. But
you've just dumbed him down.
Dumbed him down a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I've been going to him for 22 years.
Is this? Have you? I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. 22 years, really?
No, it's a long time, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you're looking for client retention, yeah, Jesus, that's nuts. That's yeah. But that's also like like, I think what a lot of people do is they expect, I'm going to bring it back to kind of like, well, we're in the same industry, right? We literally do the same job on a day-to-day. You're still personal training. You're still teaching yoga. You teach people how to get better at yoga. I teach people how to get fitter, leaner, stronger. Same concept. I think what people forget is how long, like someone could be like, oh, Carlin, you know so much. Like, how do you learn? How do you do this? But like, dude, just give it 30 years. That's all I've done. Like, and people underestimate time so much. People are like, oh, how long does it take? You've worked with some big names, whether that's actresses, athletes, everything. You worked for the Gladiators as like a what did you do for like a recruitment, right?
Recruiting, yeah.
Yeah, so you've worked with some seriously big names and big companies and big industries, right? And like everyone has the same thing in common. They've put in the groundwork and they've done years of work to get to those positions.
Yeah, and I think it's actually allowing yourself to evolve and change. And, I've learned a lot from you because the science, when I first did nutrition, it was a long time ago. Science has changed so much. So some of the things that I would be still thinking are like normal, not that I actually teach nutrition to anyone. And I don't, if people ask for help and they needed serious help, I would be, recommending them to somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of things that I've sort of been doing or, thinking that are still the norm. You're like, no, science has changed that, Mum, So,
but also,
so I've learned a lot from you. I think I've always, go on.
No, go on, finish yours.
I've always been someone that loves going on, courses and updating stuff because it does change over time. The science, a body's a body, but we've learned more about it over the time. We're putting different stuff into it all the time. Our environments are changing around it all the time. So we kind of are changing the body with what's around it. Yeah. So I think, it's important to keep your education going and be open to listen to other people because you never know it all. Never, ever know it all.
I think the biggest thing to take away from that is actually like, yes, that I might know more on like the scientific level, if that makes sense. But I also feel like going, well, actually, like if you were to train me, give me 2 leg exercises that I should be doing for training legs. What would you do for me?
I'd give you squats. Well, I'd want to give you 3 leg extension and hamstring curls. Do you know what I mean?
But do you know what? But just literally from those 3 words that you said, I'm like, well, that's the foundation of how you build legs.
That's it.
A squat variation and 2 isolations. Because
the body doesn't change.
Body hasn't changed. All that's happened is, like you said, the environment's changed. So now the companies know how to make fancy machinery. Now we have more supplementation. Now we know how to pull out nutrients from certain food sources. But if you gave me a straight up diet plan, you'd be like, right, eat oats in the morning, chicken and rice, chicken and lean mincemeat. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So actually, like the basics, like that's never going to change. It's like someone said to me the other day, oh, I think they said like I'm allergic to or intolerant to this and it causes me to feel sleepy. And it was like white rice. And I feel like we fucking grained white rice from fields for thousands of years. I promise you, it's probably not the rice. It's probably because what society said is rice is bad for you or white things are bad for you.
Something else that you're putting into your body. Yeah.
And it's probably the world we live in. It's probably a lot of other things that's probably going into your system.
Absolutely. I think that's what's changed. We could go on to another whole conversation about food, and we probably haven't got time for that now. But yeah, at the end of the day, we are what we eat. We are what we're not even just what we are. We eat. I love the whole thing of we are what surrounds us. We are what we watch, what we read, what we listen to. We're everything that all of our senses pick up. We're all of those things and how they affect our lives. Yeah. So be mindful of all of them.
And more of a reason to put yourself into a place or around people in an environment that you're going to absorb that energy from.
Absolutely, yeah.
100%.
That has the values of life that you do, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, I know, honestly, like we could ramble for ages, but I'm going to wrap it up here.
I'm going to love you and leave you. Finish up.
I've got one question for you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice for anyone right now, obviously the 1% podcast, to take them 1% forward tomorrow or one step forward tomorrow, what would that be?
Before you respond or answer anything, just take a moment, take a breath, and just listen to what you really feel. You feel, not what somebody else thinks, or not what you think somebody else wants, what you really feel, and go with your gut feeling. Because that, I always think that's your second brain, and science tells us it is now, and that doesn't cheat you like our mind. That gives you the real answer.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's brilliant. It's cool. So yeah, nice and simple. Thank you for jumping on. So it's cool. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll attach, where can people find, like if people need your information, what's best to find you?
Just probably my email address. That's probably best.
Yeah, email address. Cool. Website, have you still got this studio website, or is it?
I have, but that's between Steve and I. I've got my mindfulness website.
Okay.
But probably just my email address, and then if they want, or my telephone number, email address, and then I can always guide them in direction that I think they want to go.
Yes, cool. Yeah, you don't want to have your telephone number on.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Unless it comes up with a name, I don't answer it anyway. But
yeah, no, you wouldn't want that now. So not when 1,000 people might watch this and be like, "Fuck it, I'll phone her."
Oh, okay. All right. Shows how techie I am.
Yeah, it's fine. But no, it's cool. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll stick. I'll put your Facebook as well, potentially as well. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
So I'll put your Facebook and email. So that's perfect. But yeah, absolutely lovely. Thank you for jumping on, and it was nice to talk to you. To be fair, so it's good. So it's cool.
It was, and I shall speak to you soon.
That's it. Easy.